cameraman. He takes care of this, but he's not here. So he's been busy killing himself running around with me. Hey, folks. Welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. This is Chris live at Zorgvliet, outside Stellenbosch between Franschhoek and Stellenbosch, this beautiful mountain pass up here. And I have a couple gentlemen here with me from the estate. We have
Bernard Leroux.
Leroux.
Yeah.
Okay, got that. All right.
And you have Kobe Nell.
Kobe Nell. There's some very stereotypical Afrikaans surnames here. Nell and Leroux. Okay. Well, one of my favorite Leroux, of course, is Billy when he can hold on to the ball.
Yeah,
so.
even us.
Are you guys rugby fans?
Big rugby fans.
And who do you support?
Local, well, Stormers in the local leagues, and then obviously the Western Province in the Currie Cup, and Springboks all the way.
Okay.
Same deal.
Okay, we're good. No Sharks fans here. No, look, after that embarrassment last week when the Stormers stomped all over the Pilchards, I think the Sharks fans are hiding. But I'll find out because on the 25th, I'll be live broadcasting from Kings Park, Hollywood Bets Kings Park in Durban, folks. So looking forward to that. Well, listen, we're here to talk about it, Bernard, about Zorgvliet. First off, for a lot of viewers around the world, the only time they ever heard of the word Zorg is you and I were talking that old, text-based computer game, which kind of rocked. I enjoyed that. Or a James Bond villain, Zorg. So what is Zorgvliet? What does that mean?
It's in no way related to those two things. Zorg in Dutch means caring.
Okay,
To take care of.
To take care of something. So zorg in Afrikaans means to care for something.
To sustain your support, maybe.
Yeah, and the fleet. What I've been able to find out, a fleet in Dutch is also like a little brook.
So, like a little creek or stream.
Like creek. So
okay.
I think,
So that's the caring stream they took care of.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no concrete evidence that was the origin, but we imagine that's kind of what it's all about.
I think we'll buy that. It's better than when I was at Velvedocht and I spoke to Stalk Berger. He's talking about how they thought they picked the right spot, so Velvedocht, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But then he pointed out the Dutch weren't very good at naming things. He said, "You see that mountain behind me?" I said, "Yeah." You mean Groenberg? He said, "Yeah, they call it Green Mountain because it's green." They weren't very advanced technologically with their topographical names, to say the least. Well, let's see. How do you both come to be here at this place? And look, I mean, folks, if you've never been here, you better make a bucket list. It's amazing. Tell us, Bernard, about yourself.
Well, this is I'm currently busy with my 10th vintage here. So I joined the Zorgvliet team in beginning of 2014. I've been traveling the world, worked for numerous other wineries. So I always, in the first part of my career, I very much established myself as a Bordeaux specialist.
So you're officially like a winemaker, correct?
Yeah, I'm a trained winemaker and a viticulturist and winemaker.
That's the word I was looking for, the big word.
So enologist or viticulturist. So when the opportunity came up, it was easy choice to move here.
Yeah, not hard. But where are you from originally in South Africa?
I grew up in Cape Town in the city.
Okay, so you're from around this area.
Yeah.
No, because I've interviewed a winemaker who grew up in Gauteng, and I still scratch my head on that one. I could be a winemaker then,
Exactly.
What about yourself?
So I only joined the team last year in October. Started taking over the tasting room over here.
He's got the cool job.
He's
the wine taster.
Exactly.
So that's the job I want.
Exactly, yeah. So I came about to come and really give life to this old building that we're currently in. So the farm dates back to about 1692, which according to our
not
records,
too long after they first arrived.
Exactly. So lots of history over here and in the valley. So we just really want to kind of bring back to life that old authentic feeling. I mean, if you look at our neighbors, lots of modern luxury that you find around. If you look at Dallegraf and Tukara and the Molenvliets, we've got something really old and special here, and we really want to tap back into that. So it's just kind of to bring this old, authentic building back to life again.
Well, it's interesting you mention that because, yes, it is old, but it doesn't have the old feel, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I've been to bed and breakfasts that are old, and they're old. No aircon, no electricity's dodgy. The windows look like they were last spackled in 1753.
The plumbing you can hear coming your way.
Yeah, exactly. So, but this doesn't have that feel. But did you have to do any restoration to this particular building for life?
So with the heritage building, it's a certified heritage building in Stellenbosch. So you're not really allowed to demolish or restore a lot of things or renovate. So you need to keep its original structure. So in 1850, the roof did burn down. So the date that you'll see on the tasting room is 1860. So that's when the roof was remodeled. But they had to drop the roof because when they came to inspect again, they said, you built it too high again. So everything needs to have its original look and feel. So everything that needs to happen, is just kind of what happens inside of the tasting room. So we can't change anything structurally. But we can just kind of up the vibe a little bit and the atmosphere and those kind of things.
Okay, well that's interesting. So they rebuilt the roof, but it wasn't to the same specifications that it had been.
Exactly, and they had to break it down and build it all over again.
Sure, that was a little irritating at the time. Governments are always telling us what to do, but I suppose in this case it matters. Speaking of heritage places, folks, go sign that petition. Save Newlands. I was there yesterday. I filmed it. You can see the videos. It's heartbreaking. Almost brought me to tears. Really sad to see what's happening in Newlands. Hopefully they can save it as a heritage site. And the pitch is if their pitch looked anything like your yard, Newlands would be great. It's just it's weeds everywhere. It's really sad.
No, it's very sad. I mean, lots of memories. I mean, that's where my father took me for my first rugby game. And the new stadium is nice, but it's not the same.
And also, even all that aside, it's the oldest rugby stadium in South Africa.
Exactly.
It's like the Curry Cup. The 6 people that show up to go to Curry Cup games and me broadcasting on TV. So you start to wonder about the health of the Curry Cup. Is it going to survive? It's the oldest rugby competition in the world.
Good question.
You've got to save it for that reason.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to wine. This is all fine and dandy, but let's talk about wine. All right, so you mentioned Bordeaux. Are there specialty wines that Zorgvliet is especially known for that people should know about?
Well, we focus on that whole range of varieties that you typically get from the Bordeaux region. So on the whites, we work with Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon. On the red side, we've got Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and Petit Verdot. So I won't say we're the only estate, but we're one of the few estates where we do single varietal bottlings of pretty much of every variety, and then we make a variety of blends from the wines as well. So,
is there anything special about the soil or the drainage or the cloud cover or something that makes it unique? Because when I interviewed folks over at Goed Constantia, they talked about the unique qualities and properties of the granite that comes down in the soil there, and just the weather pattern being different than other parts around the Cape. Yeah. What about here? Anything special?
Well, we share around the Cape. We share very much similar soil types, especially if you're up on the mountain slopes. All the mountains around the Banguk and Stellenbosch area, they're in the same range as even Constantia. So, if you're up on those slopes, you'll get a combination of decomposed granite and sandstone. Our soils vary quite dramatically from site to site on the farm, but it varies from deep loams to shallow clay-rich soils down in the valley floor, gravel in some pockets. So the soils are not, in my opinion, that defining. The climate definitely does play a larger role. We are a little bit more elevated here from say Stellenbosch General. We're about 200 to 300 meters above. It's starting at 200 to 300 meters above sea level, going up to about 600 meters above sea level. So that brings down your mean temperature by 2 to 3 degrees.
So we're about 2 degrees cooler than Stellenbosch town.
I know.
And that
it's summertime here, folks.
So there's a different tension in the wines here. We have a little bit more natural acidity to work with. We've got a slower and later ripening season. Not dramatically, but just enough to give it some differentiation. So the altitude plays a role, and so we get a constant southeast breeze blowing down the valley. That's also a cooling factor. So, and then also the aspect, most of our vineyards face south and east, which are the cooler slopes in the southern hemisphere. So, cool site in Stellenbosch.
And that obviously has an impact on the taste and the quality of the wine.
Yeah. So the reds typically, I wouldn't say delicate. They're quite firm. Zorgvliet's specifically Zorgvliet's our style is quite firm, but kind of focused style. But you can draw that line through all the estates in the Banguk Valley. They all have that same Thelema, our neighbors, the Botany, Del Ayers wines. They all have this thread of tension in the wines. and on the white you have that real nice crisp acidity, not overly acidic, but
Just right.
Just right, yeah. So, and then flavor profile, a little bit more dark fruit driven on the reds, and on the whites, you don't get that overly tropical aromas that you get from warmer areas, or the very green herbaceous aromas that you get on the very cool sites or cool areas like Constantia or Durbanville. We tend to get a good mix, somewhere in the middle of the profile. So
just really goes to show that while there are vineyards all over this area, you get very distinct tastes from the wines.
Yeah.
So the lockdown was pretty brutal for a lot of folks, particularly here in South Africa, especially early days, starting March 27th, 2020. The date I won't forget. Anyway, so about that time frame. It was pretty brutal, and it had especially a deep impact on the wine industry because initially there was a ban on transport of alcohol. You couldn't even move it. And I understand that for a while you couldn't even go pick grapes. They would come after you for picking grapes. And it was not a good time for that to occur because grapes were ripening. So a lot of people were very devastated by this, the vineyards in particular. But I think the key is that, and we were talking about this off camera, one of the keys here is that Zorgvliet is not entirely dependent on its wine production. You have a diversification of revenue. So you've got the wine tasting, but you also got lodging here and such.
Exactly.
But the hospitality industry was really crushed by this. But had you been exclusively a hospitality business, you might not be here.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what was that like? You weren't here then.
I weren't here, but I do have some close family ties with the owners. So they were pretty fortunate, I think, in that diversification, and obviously with the accommodation and the whole hospitality side completely shut down. Bernard mentioned, our wine clients really, stuck with us. As soon as we were able to sell wine again,
They were ready to take it up.
they were ready to take it up. So, luckily, as soon as the restrictions started being lifted, we could actually start forming a business and produce cash flow again and start, rebuilding the business back up again.
But the hospitality portion is still worth talking about here. I experienced it last night. I stayed here, and like a very highfalutin sort of a place with meals. It's like eating in France. They bring an amazing meal out, but it's 2 bites and you're done. So I'll have to go to McDonald's to top off after that. So it's quite an amazing meal last night, the hospitality, and the room was lovely. And I see they have a good, powerful generator to overcome the load shedding. That was nice.
Yeah.
We just had to purchase another one. So
I burned the other one out?
No. It's just our winery also requires
lots of juice.
Yeah.
Has the estate done anything with wind turbines or solar?
Solar, yeah. We just about a month ago commissioned a new solar plant that can run the whole winery operation. Outside of lock, the moment we go into load shedding, we run a generator. And now we're in the process of integrating the two systems, but it's
He's still figuring out exactly what's going to work the best for us.
Make sure your installers ground your solar panels. I interviewed Noah's Cheesery in the Free State, and he put all this money sunk it in because they're remote. You gotta want to visit the cheesery. It's not like it's along the motorway, so you gotta drive back. But they installed solar out there, and the installer didn't ground it properly. Lightning strike wiped out the entire thing. Huge investment, and not to mention all the spoiled milk and the lost production. So. That's tough. So you are going that route. A lot of people in Western Cape have already switched over to solar photovoltaic panels because of the unreliability of Eskom, and it's not getting any better, folks. It's not getting any better.
No, we've been struggling along for a few years. It's been no one's been sure exactly what Eskom's deal is, but I think for the near future we need to prepare for the worst. And, we are prepared for it now.
Well, I think that's a sound strategy. Is prepare for them. Not relying on them is the bottom line.
Exactly.
If they're there, great. If they're not, they're not. So.
Exactly.
And if you're relying on yourself, then 16% tariff hikes aren't going to affect you. And won't affect the consumers of Zorgvliet. Why? Because you won't have to jack the prices up to recoup the revenue. That's what gets lost on people. I was like, well, people are raising prices. I had to pay more for my dinner and my lodging. Well, yeah, because they have to pay more for the electricity and the petrol and so on and so forth.
Everything.
Yeah. So is this what you always wanted to do, Bernard? I mean, did you always want to be a viticulturist? Is that the right word?
Well, I came from my grandfather was a viticultural researcher, so there was some roots in the industry, and then I very much wanted to go into agriculture in general, and having that connection, the wine industry just seemed logical. But I had the fortune to also, as a kid, to hear a very what's the word? Bijstrichter. He's a
pioneer in
He was at that time. He was at
winemaker of the
he was at Kanonkop and he presented a wine tasting. I was called in to wait, and I just listened to him speak about what he was doing.
And you were mesmerized.
Yeah, it really inspired me. So I thought I'd investigate, and I decided to go that route. So it was just being at the right time, right place at the right time, and and then I went and studied and did a combination of traveling overseas, worked in California a few times.
Oh, really? Okay. Whereabouts?
I worked in the Napa Valley one
there you
season
go.
at Chateau Montelina, and then another season I worked in the Russian River Valley.
Okay. You say you've been around the world. Did you do any in Europe or in New
I
Zealand? or
traveled.
Australia?
No, I haven't been down south, but I've
That's
traveled.
fine because that's where the wallabies and they all are. So there's really not much appeal going down there. I'm just saying. I've been there. You're not missing it.
No, I traveled France. I did some study trips through Europe, but I haven't worked there per se. But yeah.
I came of age as a young man in the army in Germany, and I never had wine. I drank beer in college. That was about it.
Yeah.
But I never had any wine. And then I lived in Germany, and I was right in the middle of the Weingut, the wine of the vineyards all around it. Literally, we went jogging. Yeah.
Rheingau Valley.
No. We were in the Nahe Valley
No.
by Bad Kreuznach, and so. But I'm saying the Weingut, all the vineyards, the German word
Yeah.
for it. They were everywhere. We would run in the morning through the vineyards. We never ran when the grapes were ripe though. But so I tried wine in Germany, and I got hooked on the German white wines. And yeah, exactly. Quite good. Then I got Michaelsberg Piesborder. That's one of my favorite German wines. And I never really liked the reds. That wasn't my thing. And then I was stationed in Italy, and every place you go, family restaurant, you got to have the table wine. And so I discovered the red wines were quite good. The ones the table wine are amazing in Italy. It's just so I developed a taste for it. And then I'd never really had South African wine, and people said you should try the Cape Shiraz, and I did. And I'm like, okay. So, my palate is broadening there, getting used to some of these things. So I was last here in 2010, as I both told both these gentlemen, and I feel cheated because the tour guide that took us around, I don't remember your name, but I will find it. The tour guide that took us around brought us just down to the restaurant. And it's amazing. This is gorgeous. We had a glass of wine. It was lovely. But that's just a tiny portion of what there's available to see here at this estate. And this morning I drove back from there to the next building thinking that was where the wine tasting was. No, that's some storage facility or something. So then I drove further down, saw cars parked, and I parked there. I walked in, I saw the lady I saw last night at the restaurant. She was working in the store this morning. And she said, no, this is the picnic area. Well, the wine tasting is about 400 meters that way. Finally, I found my way up here. And it's well worth the trip, folks.
Beautiful drive in.
It's amazing. I mean, the weather's perfect. Summertime, it's just lovely. But even the wintertime, it's nice here.
Yeah.
It's Mediterranean climate, so.
So we've got the fireplaces going in the winter, so it's really cozy up here. But yeah, Zorgvliet's got a good offering. If you obviously accommodations, we do large functions.
Weddings. There's one today.
Yeah.
And then we've got very nice small plates offering at our restaurant down where you were. But then we also have the picnic venue, very popular in the summer. And then we also serve snacks at the wine tasting. So yeah.
It's very much a family-orientated, estate, family-owned, and the family values run straight through. So it's a place for kids to come along as well. It's not just a place for parents are going to drink some wine, get a babysitter for the kids. We really would like the entire family to come and join us.
Well, you say family. There's actually, I think there's a wine here that's named after one of the family members.
Yeah, actually, both. I think Bernard behind us over here. So there's the Rochelle and the Simonet. So
Don't worry, I'm driving. They're not going to open these.
so Rochelle and the Simonet. So Rochelle's the eldest daughter. So the red wine is named after her, which is the blend, or rather let Bernard tell you about the wine.
He's the wine.
And then Simonet, which is the white blend, white Bordeaux style blend of the Sauvignon Blanc and Seigneur.
And that's a different daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Simonet and Rochelle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So these are our flagship red and white wines, and they the ideal is to showcase the estate, and it's not about a specific variety. It's more about trying to make the wine that we believe in. So Rochelle, the person, has just joined me at the winery. She's also a trained winemaker, and she joined me this season. So Simone is a chef, and she's also dabbling around the farm, trying to.
Well, I wonder if she made the brilliant food I had last night that was wonderful but left me hungry. Well, they brought. I said, "Do you have dessert?" Yeah, they brought dessert. I'm like, "Yes." That was amazing too, but it was like $3.
So she's she's involved with the hospitality department. So very family focused. And the wines. We've built up a good track record for the Rochelle. We've won as a Bordeaux blend through the Wine Magazine panel twice in a row. We've had 5-star platters for that wine, so it's built up a good following and reputation. And the Simone in its own right is also a well-regarded Bordeaux wine. So
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Before we leave, let me ask one more question before I get to closing. In a state like this, obviously, there's more than just the two of you at work here. It takes a whole team to do this. So do you employ a lot of local folks at the estate?
So we've got a group of people who stay on the farm that form the basis of our workforce.
Your core workforce.
And a lot of people have been here for more than 15 years. So it's we've got a very strong group of people who've come with the farm for a long time. And then if we need extra help, we've got the town of Calmore just down the road. So we recruit a lot of young.
So you get some seasonal hires to come in.
We have to. I mean, that's just the nature of the industry. Answer is yes. It's very much local focus. Even in the winery, if I have the option of employing seasonal workers from overseas, even I rather opt to try and plow back into the local community and try to get some of the young kids who might be interested in winemaking to pull them into the cellar and show them around. So
Could lead to a very different trajectory in life, the experience of coming here and doing it.
Yeah.
So I have one more question before we wrap up on this one. This isn't a job, is it? It's a calling. Is it not? I mean, it's something you
it never feels like, it never feels like a job. I think that I made my life decision to go into this direction when I was very young. So
last week.
But I think in the back of my mind, I probably thought, I don't want to. I remember I didn't want to sit in an office all day. I didn't want to. I wanted a career path that was diverse and would, So I never go to work thinking that there's a job. It's just it feels like going. I don't know. It's exciting every day, and it's something you can be passionate about. I think that's important in life.
I think that we could say simply brilliant. Yes.
Yeah.
And yourself, same thing. You really enjoy working here.
So I started, studying more in accounting and things, and I've absolutely also discovered that I hated it, and then found my way in the wine industry, and also just not the versatility of the industry, but no day is the same. You get to meet a lot of exciting people coming through, and and there's so much more to learn in the industry. So I've found in wine, the more you discover about wine, the more you actually don't know, and there's so much more you can actually go into. The world of wine is endless, and that's the exciting part for me. And it's trying to showcase what Bernard does in the cellar to our guests that have come up here, to just showcase the wine in the correct way and respect the wine. So. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. It was a real pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
Thanks.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. Give us a like, share this with other folks, pass it around on social media. No, not like the spicy cough. Don't spread it like that, but spread it virally so that people see it. Thanks a lot for your time. Appreciate your comments. Give us a like. And we'll catch you here shortly when I get over to the Ruckin Mall to do the long-awaited interview with Teo over there. Looking forward to that. And then later today, it's Dr. Peter Hrenevod from the Freedom Plus. We'll be meeting once again. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. We're still live here.